Hello, my love. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tatiana Sonjalia, and I am a healer, and I help people transform their lives. I'm excited about this video because I think there is such a misconception about what submission is. And I know for the longest, I did not really understand what submission was. I don't know, the idea of submission it just did not feel good. It felt so controlling and scary, and it just did not feel like a safe place. The idea of submitting to someone in my relationship. So, what is the truth about submission? First of all, I believe that idea that I had from the get-go about submission being about control and manipulation and unsafety, I think that definitely came from society. I believe that today's modern women and society paint this really ugly picture of the idea of submission in a relationship. And I think this idea is painted to women to make women fearful. It makes it harder for women to be able to fall into feminine energy, as we've been talking about on the channel for the last 2 videos. So the first thing that I want to say about submission, about the truth about submission, and this is what I know now based on my experience, is that submission is not about control. Instead, submission is actually about trust. For the longest time, I had a hard time submitting in my relationship. And now what I realize, now that I have submitted, is that submitting to my partner, or essentially, we can use a different word if that sounds too ugly, because I know the media and modern society has made that word so ugly and they have just demonized that word. So instead of submission, let's just interchange it with trust. When I fully decided to trust my partner, it finally allowed me to relax. Coming to these realizations, I was able to see that the only reason that I was able to finally learn how to fully trust my partner, is because my partner had a vision. And what I now know is that as women, when we sense uncertainty within our partners, meaning they don't have a vision, right? This makes us question our safety. And it is up to the man to set that tone to allow us to feel safe within their agenda, within their guidance. And so if a man does not have a vision, an agenda, is not self-disciplined or self-motivated, those are definitely red flags to us. And we will have a very, very hard time fully trusting that this man is capable of leading us, guiding us, protecting us, and pointing us in the right direction. And as soon as women, as soon as we feel that we can't fully trust this man's agenda, whether it be that it's just shisty or suspect and we don't trust what his word is, and a man's word is everything. So if we can't trust a man's word, then that's a problem. But it could also be that we don't fully trust this man because he doesn't have a vision, he doesn't have goals, he isn't self-motivated, he isn't self-disciplined. And so whatever it may be that shows us that this man, his vision is not something that we can rely on nor invest into with our own feminine energy, that's where we begin to feel unsafe. And that's the point where a lot of women feel that they need to take the lead. If a woman feels or sees that her partner is not fit in making wise decisions because of whatever reason, but especially if he doesn't have a vision for himself as an individual, then a woman is not going to see him as fit or see him as capable of leading the ship. So as women, we have to go into the masculine energy, and then we become the lead. As women, we love, it is so attractive when our partners have the capability to lead us and to make really good decisions, really wise decisions. And as men, I would say they're more of linear thinkers. As women, as me, I find that extremely attractive. And that is what allows me to trust, to submit. So a really good way to test whether or not your man, or a man that you might be interested in, to test whether or not he is fit or capable of leading, you just gotta ask him one question. Ask him, what is his 5-year plan? After you ask that question, just stay quiet. Don't say anything else and let him speak. If you allow him to speak, he will say everything that you need to know in order to come to the decision of whether or not he is a fit and capable leader. First of all, if he doesn't have a 5-year plan, that might be a red flag. But if he comes up with some bull and tries to put together a half-assed, 5-year plan that he just came out the woodworks with just to please you in that moment, you will also be able to sense that. So don't lie to yourself, don't kid yourself. If something smells funky, you already know that is probably going to be an issue in the future, and someone that you're going to, by nature, not be able to fully submit to or fully trust. And you're gonna always be constantly questioning whether or not they are fit, whether or not their decisions are solid. And that's gonna create a lot of tension in the relationship moving forward. And another red flag is if you ask this guy what his 5-year plan is, and he either shuts down or becomes defensive. He already said all that he needed to say. You have already just seen what the rest of this path moving forward is going to look like in the future. So choose wisely, but that is a very, very, very strong red flag, is if that man becomes defensive, or if he shuts down or becomes defensive about your intention of asking this question, then that is a red flag as well. First of all, him becoming defensive to you asking about his goals or his vision or what he has planned for the future, that is a perfectly healthy question to ask your partner, especially if you're trusting them with your life. So, ladies, that is a big red flag. So, if you have a partner that does not or is not able to communicate these things to you, then you might want to just take a step back and evaluate whether or not this is the best decision for you and your future and your safety and your ability to, fall into your feminine energy in this relationship and trust your partner fully moving forward. So that's a big thing. I would even respect a man who is able to say, you know what, babe, my love, I don't have all the answers right now. I don't know what the next 5 years is gonna look like, but what I can tell you is that X, Y, and Z. I would respect that much more than someone who just shuts down or becomes aggravated or defensive over you simply asking about what their plans or goals are. Because when you ask that question and you get those red flags, he's just instantly proven to you that he is not fit to lead. And that is not a character judgment of him. Maybe he needs time to grow up. Maybe he needs more guidance from the older men in his life. Maybe he didn't have, a lot of older men to give him advice and show him what should be priority in his life. So it's nothing against him, but as far as you moving forward in that point with this person, it's pretty obvious that you're going to either settle for this and take the lead, and you are going to end up burnt out, exhausted, tired, resentful, because you're going to be feeling like you're taking care of a man child. And I don't know, to each is their own, but a man who is willing to let a woman take the lead, in my opinion, is a man who is willing to allow his woman to burn herself out, to exhaust herself, to essentially have the possibility of resenting him the possibility of her becoming unhappy in her feminine energy because she spent all her masculine energy trying to sail the ship, trying to take care of the whole crew. So that's just my opinion. As women, we need to feel safe and secure, and we have to know that our partner is making the best, wisest decisions for our well-being. And when we don't have that in a partner, it becomes unsettling. It becomes unsettling, and somewhere in our spirit, we become unbalanced. So that can look like you always catching an attitude, or you just being really frustrated with your partner, feeling like you have to overcompensate for their lack of, in their role, in their part, in their duties. When two people come together, you're always going to be growing something, whether it be a family, a legacy, or even something unhealthy like drama. But regardless, when two people come together, they always are growing something. So who are you choosing to come together with? And what is it that you guys are going to be growing together? Are you guys going to be growing worries, stresses, and frustrations? Or are you guys going to be growing safety and stability and harmony and growth, personal growth between you guys as individuals? One thing that I did want to bring up was that in today's society, I am noticing this culture of wanting a man to submit to you. And yeah, it sounds all fun and games, but once women get in that seat, get in that driver's seat and become the leaders, at that point, women get it confused. Women think submission is about control, and they feel this, inflation of their ego when they have a submissive man, because a submissive man is a man they can control. But like I said in the beginning, submission is not about control. Submission is about trust. So I have seen time and time again in my personal life, women who attract submissive men never end up happy. They either end up miserable, or they just leave the relationship after they're tired of it, after they become exhausted, resentful, angry, and it just never ends up good for anyone, because eventually that woman becomes resentful. She starts to not respect her partner for not being man enough, or not taking the lead, or not helping her when she needs help, or exhausting her of her resources and becoming a leech. It never works out good for anyone, because I think at that point, when women get into relationships with submissive men, there's excitement around being able to control a man, because we have this misconception that submission is about control. But what we fail to realize is that submission is about trust. And so a man does not usually fully trust or buy into the agenda of a woman. It usually needs to be the other way around in order for that trust to be existent in that relationship between these two people. And don't listen to these artists, don't listen to these female rappers, don't listen to these female celebrities. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them get you twisted. You are not going to be happy in a relationship with a submissive man. You're just not. You're going to walk all over them. You're going to test their manhood. You're not going to respect them. And eventually you're going to get tired of it. And you're going to look for something more stable and secure, so that you can feel like you can trust your partner. So that you know that your partner can always hold it down. That fort is going to be solid. But as you being the leader and your man being the submissive one, you're never going to be fully invested, or you're never going to really buy into whatever he's bringing to the table, because you're never going to feel safe, secure, and stable in any decision he's going to make, because you're going to be making all the decisions and you're going to get tired of it really fast. So my advice to you guys, and I love you guys so much. You guys already know. I love you guys so much. And I want the best for you guys, seriously. So my advice to you is, look for a man who has self-direction, who has these qualities of self-motivation and ambition and drive. Look for these qualities in the man that you desire to invest your full energy into. Find yourself a man that you do not have to question. Because when you have to question your partner's decisions, critical thinking skills, intention, that is going to unsettle your spirit. Find an honorable man that you can fully trust and fully love. And I think when you can fully trust your partner, then you're able to fully love them. I don't think it's the other way around. I don't think you can fully love someone and have this area of lack in trusting them. I don't think that can work hand in hand. And I really think that once you fully trust your partner, you fall so deeply in love with them, and you can't help but to fully invest into them what God has given you. A man who you can fully trust is a man who you can fully respect. And a man with a vision is gonna challenge you for the better. Like, if a man does not have a vision for himself or a vision for the union between you guys, you're just gonna be stagnant. You're not gonna grow. So a man with a vision, a man with goals, is gonna challenge you to be better, for the better. And it's gonna be beautiful to see how you develop in this relationship, as you, who you become as a result of this beautiful union. But seriously, ladies, ask yourself, is my partner challenging me for the better? Or do I have to try to inspire him to be better? I have to inspire him to be better. And remember to do that test with whoever you're dealing with. If you want to know if this relationship is worth you investing, do that test. Ask, what is your 5-year plan? And sit back and listen to the response. And even if he doesn't have a solid plan yet, your feminine intuition and you as a emotional creature, you should be able to read what the underlying tone of his response is. Is he coming out the woodworks with some bull to just make me shut up right now? Or is this man solid enough in his character to still find his way, to still have the right intention for his future, though it may not be clear? And this is all that I have for you guys today. I am wishing you guys an amazing day. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click that bell notification. And if you guys ever want to reach me, you guys can reach me on my social on Instagram at TatianaXSomjalia. And I am wishing you guys a splendid, splendid day. And I'm looking forward to seeing your guys' feedback in the comments. Like, what do you guys think about this? Are you guys submitting in your relationships? Does submitting make you feel uncomfortable? Have you been taught to not ever submit to a man? Is that something that you don't subscribe to? I'm so curious to see what all your feedback is, so please drop them down in the comments down below. I love seeing all of your feedback. I'm always responding to you guys and loving your comments. So I thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye-bye.